That $8 shirt may have traveled farther after you returned it than before you bought it. And that hidden trip is not a side effect of fast fashion. It is part of the business model. Most people imagine cheap clothing starts with low-cost factories, giant sewing floors, and packed containers leaving ports in southern China or Bangladesh. That matters, but it is only the front half of the story. The back half is stranger. Mountains of returns, warehouse triage, liquidation pallets, exporters, shredders, and resale channels that quietly absorb failure at industrial scale. What you are really buying is not just a shirt. You are buying into a system designed to survive enormous waste. My central view is simple. Ultra-cheap apparel is sustained not only by cheap production, but by a shadow economy that processes the clothes customers reject. The sticker price looks low because the losses are spread across a vast reverse logistics machine. If that machine became slower, stricter, or more expensive, a lot of fast fashion would stop looking cheap very quickly. To see it, start where the illusion breaks. The return. In the United States, the National Retail Federation estimated roughly $743 billion in merchandise was returned in 2023, about 14.5% of total retail sales. Apparel is one of the worst categories because fit is uncertain, colors look different on screens, and many shoppers order 3 sizes, planning to keep 1. 3 sizes is not irrational behavior. The system practically invites it. Sarcastic. Free returns sound generous. In practice, they are a pricing technology. They reduce hesitation, lift conversion, and make low-quality sizing tolerable. A retailer can sell more by making the buying decision feel reversible. But once the package comes back, the economics get ugly fast. A returned dress is not a clean unit of inventory anymore. It is a question mark. Is it unworn? Is the tag switched? Does it smell like perfume? Is it missing a button? Can it be steamed, rebagged, relisted, and sold before the trend passes? This is where reverse logistics takes over. Reverse logistics simply means the movement of goods backward through the supply chain, from customer to seller, then to inspection, refurbishment, liquidation, donation, export, or disposal. In apparel, speed matters more than elegance. A basic top can lose relevance in weeks. Every extra touch costs labor. Every day in a returns bin destroys value. And labor in a US or UK warehouse is expensive compared with the original cut-and-sew cost of the garment. That is why a huge share of returned clothes never goes back to the digital shelf. Aptora, a company that studies returns, estimated years ago that billions of pounds of returned goods in the US end up in landfill. The exact mix changes by category and year, but the logic has not changed. If the cost of inspecting and restocking exceeds the resale value, the item becomes a disposal problem, not an inventory asset. For a shirt sold at $8, that threshold arrives shockingly fast. I think this is the part consumers rarely see. We imagine retail as a neat loop. Make it, ship it, sell it, wear it. The real loop is messier and more revealing. It tells you what the product was truly worth to the company once the first sale failed. Sometimes the answer is not $8. Sometimes it is 80 cents. Sometimes it is negative. And that leads to the hidden mountain. Retailers and marketplaces do not just process individual returns one by one. They batch, failure. Unsold and returned apparel gets sorted into pallets, trucked to secondary warehouses, sold to liquidators, bundled by condition and pushed into off-price channels, flea market distributors, online resellers, exporters, and textile recyclers. In 2023, the re-commerce and returns management industry kept expanding because brands needed specialists to handle exactly this overflow. Whispering, some of those garments cross borders again. A shirt might be manufactured in Bangladesh, sold online in Germany, returned to a logistics hub in Poland or the Netherlands, bulk sold to a trader, exported to markets in Eastern Europe, West Africa, or the Middle East, and then resold at a discount stall. It can travel farther after rejection than it did on the way to the original buyer. That is not an exception. It is often the salvage route. The trade in used clothing is already enormous. According to UN Comtrade data, global exports of worn clothing and other worn articles regularly measure in the billions of dollars annually. Ghana, Kenya, Pakistan, and the United Arab Emirates have all played major roles in these flows, though each market has its own rules and controversies. Some of this trade extends garment life. Some of it simply relocates waste. That distinction matters, because when liquidation fails, destruction enters the picture. In recent years, scrutiny intensified over brands and retailers accused of destroying unsold or returned goods rather than reselling them. Not always illegally, often economically. If a brand fears fraud, contamination, brand dilution, or handling costs, shredding can look cheaper than recovery. Cheaper for the company, not for the system. This is where fast fashion reveals its real superpower. Not producing perfect demand forecasts, but surviving bad ones. If a retailer can overproduce, oversell, tolerate high return rates, and still clear the wreckage through liquidation and disposal channels, it can keep the front-end price aggressively low. The hidden machine absorbs the mistakes. The consumer sees abundance. The warehouse sees triage. But this only works because the math is distributed. The original item may lose money. The customer acquired may still be profitable over time. The return may generate data about sizing. The liquidation partner may recover a few cents on the dollar. The exporter may monetize mixed lots. The landfill cost may be delayed. No single step looks elegant. Together, they keep the carousel spinning. There is also a timing trick here. Fast fashion is not really selling clothes alone. It is selling optionality. Buy now, decide later, send back what fails. That convenience feels modern, but economically, it shifts decision costs onto a logistics network hidden from the shopper. Have you noticed how many platforms now encourage basket sizes that almost assume a return will happen? That is not a bug. It is operationalized indecision. Tone shift, building, urgent. But wait, the most important part is not the return itself. It is why this matters now. Regulators and investors have started looking harder at textile waste, green claims, and the true environmental cost of overproduction. The European Union has been moving towards stricter textile waste rules and extended producer responsibility frameworks, while countries like France have taken a tougher line on destroying unsold goods in some categories. If reverse logistics becomes more regulated, the cheap price illusion gets stress tested. Add one more shift. Return fraud is rising. The National Retail Federation has warned that fraudulent returns and claims are costing retailers tens of billions of dollars. In low-margin apparel, that matters. A business already balancing on theme unit economics now has to inspect more carefully, authenticate more often, and eat more labor cost.
What happens when the back end gets more expensive while the consumer still expects an $8 shirt and free returns? Something has to give.